Hi everyone, Janie here. Thanks for stopping by today. I truly appreciate you all so much. Today I have a project that I really hope you like, and if you do, it would mean so much to me if you would give this a thumbs up and share it. And also, I hope you consider subscribing if you haven't already, and if you do, I hope you click on that little bell next to the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you all so much, and now let's get started. Hi everyone, Janie here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a shaker card using a partial die cut technique to create the window for the shaker like I did behind this beautiful die cut. That die is from InLoveArts and it is called Elk in the Forest. And if you're wondering how I got that beautiful background that is not showing up really good, but it's got northern lights in there, I got that using a variety of distress oxide inks, and I'll show you those right here. I absolutely love how this shaker came out, and today we are going to be making another one, but I am not using the same die. I'm going to be using another die set from InLoveArts. This die set is called Santa Claus Driving a Car Full of Presents, and there are 13 dies in the set. And you can cut them out of colored cardstock, or you can cut them out of white cardstock and color them in with your alcohol ink markers or colored pencils like I did with a few of the pieces. Okay, so I'm going to do a very quick slideshow of me putting all of those pieces together, and then we'll get to work on the shaker card. And here it is, all put together. And in the slideshow, I showed that you can put the presents on the top or the presents on the inside. And every example I've ever seen of this, they've had the presents up on the roof, but I decided I wanted to be different and put mine on the inside. So let me know down in the comments, what do you like better, inside or on the roof? Okay, so now I'm going to create the shaker window. And I'm going to be doing a partial die cut as I'm going to show you. So this paper is going to be the top layer of my card, and I'm just going to put that on there so that I can decide where I want the shaker window to be. And actually I've already decided that it's right where I want it, so I'm going to pull this out. And you can use some washi tape if you want to kind of make sure that everything is in place. So, don't want to move it. Okay. Let me see if I've got it stuck on there good. Alright, so as you can see, the die is hanging off the end, but I don't want to cut this all the way to the end. I want to leave at least 1/4 of an inch at the bottom that is not going to get cut. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take the plate that goes on top and I am going to place it right about there. So you want 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. So I hope I'm making this clear to you that you want to leave your paper and die outside of the top plate. Okay, this is almost hard to explain, but not. So, can you see that? Okay, now I am going to run it through, and of course everything just moved while I am here on camera, but I'm not going to start this over again. So, I'm just going to line it back up again right where I want it. And I'm going to tape it down here and see if that holds any better. Okay, everything right where I want it, stay there. All right, again, I'm going to line this up right about there. My mats or my plates are warped, so it makes this a little bit challenging to keep everything flat and smooth. But I'm going to roll it through there, and I'm going to stop for a minute to show you that it's not going to cut below that plate. Once this plate goes through, this part is not going to cut. So I'm just going to roll that through and pull it out the other side. Now you're going to see what I'm talking about. Let me remove this tape, remove the die, and this is still attached. Okay, so with that done, see if we can focus here. You're going to cut, or I'm going to cut, between the lines right there. I'm not going to cut all the way across. We're not cutting off the bottom. I am just going to be cutting across to remove this. But I'm going to cut it very nicely because I am going to be using this. So you can do this with a paper trimmer, or you can do it with a pair of scissors. I am going to go do that, and I'll be right back. And that is how you do a partial die cut to create that shaker window. And now I'm going to use this piece. So what I'm going to do is line this up on the back piece. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I've trimmed this down actually only by 1/8 of an inch. Usually I would do 1/4 of an inch, but I only did 1/8 of an inch, so it's going to leave a very small white border around the edge. And with that lined up on there, and I have to bring it over here closer to me so that I can actually see this, because I'm not gluing this on right now. I am just going to get it lined up right where I want it. Okay, right about there. And to make sure that it doesn't move, I am going to use a little washi tape. This is like used washi tape even, because I save them and use them over and over again till they don't stick anymore. Kind of like that one. Okay, so I have that on there. And now look at that. I just realized that it's not on there straight. So let's try this one more time. Get it on there nice and straight. You guys are so patient. Thank you for being patient while I do this. Okay. And, well, okay, so I've got it on 2 of them right there. Okay, I'm going to put some glue on the back of here, and I'm going to glue it right in that spot. And that way, it will be exactly where it needs to be instead of me guessing later. So let me get some glue on here. And, you know, you could actually have something different back there in that shaker area. You can color that, that cardstock or that paper, or you can even add, I'm getting this all over my fingers, sorry. Or you can even add a different paper behind there altogether. But I'm choosing to use the same paper. And so I'm just going to slide this right in to that opening, like so. Look at that. Looks like it was never cut. But now I'm going to remove that. And there we go. Now I know exactly where to put my double-sided tape, or sorry, my foam tape for the shaker window. I know a lot of people would create it on this side and then they would lay that over the top. I am not really good at that. It's easier for me to do it this way, and that way I'm looking straight down, making sure that everything is lined up when I do that. So now that we have that done, I'm going to set this aside, and I am going to grab some acetate for the window. Okay, I've got my piece of acetate cut out, and it's actually, let me show you, it's actually this binding. It's a PVC clear binding, And I'll put a link to that below in the description box. And I've cut that to just a little bit smaller than the card top, but definitely bigger than the opening. And I have already put double-sided tape around the edges. And I also like to add just a little bit of glue. This is my Beacon 3-in-1, and so actually I'll add that after I remove all of the protective layer here, or release tape, not tape. Oh well, you all know what I'm talking about. I am taking that wonderful protective stuff off from the top of the double-sided tape, and then I'm going to add a little bit of my beacon, and I'm not adding it to the double-sided tape. I'm just going to add it to a couple places around it where I don't have the tape, just to make sure that it sticks really good. So there we go, just a few little places. All right, and now I'm going to put this on and try to get it exactly where I want it to be, but honestly, sometimes it's hard for me to see exactly where it's going to land. So I'll get that on there. The good news is if it ever goes, over the edges anywhere, you can always trim that off with your scissors or paper trimmer. Okay, so there we go. Looks like I don't have anything to trim off. So we have the shaker window ready. Now we need to get that bottom piece ready. Where did it go? Right here. And I need to put the foam tape around that. I planned on putting all the double-sided foam tape on off camera so that you didn't have to get bored watching that process, but I thought I would come back on for a second and show you a technique that I do, which I've showed in one of my Tuesday 2-minute tips and tricks videos, which is putting little snips all the way along one side. And you can do this even when you were using thinner foam tape than this, like a 1/4 inch. This one here is like a 1/2 inch. But when you do that, it helps this bend, which makes it easier to go around curved things, like things that are round, or like what I'm doing on this one right here. And so I just wanted to share that tip with you because it comes in handy. So I'm going to go back through and put another layer around there and trim off this little piece right here, and I'll be right back. In case you're new to shaker cards and new to doing double layers of foam tape, I thought I would come back on and show you that in order to do that, you do remove that protective layer. You don't leave that on when you're adding the second layer. So, and you also have to make sure that all of the ends are like totally touching so that none of the shaker pieces fall out. So that is what I'm doing right here. And again, I've got to trim off this little end because I'd rather have too much on here and have to trim it off than to not have enough. So just trim that little piece off there. Might have to tuck that in a little bit, but there we go. I have all of my foam tape on. So what I'm going to do next, before I add my shaker pieces, is I'm going to grab a fabric softener sheet. Wow, and I just realized I'd had another light on that made this really bright, so I'm not even sure you got to see what I was doing. But anyways, what I'm going to do with this fabric softener sheet is I'm going to wipe it around the inside, right up against that double-sided tape, just to remove any stickiness that might be there, and rubbing it around the inside as well, trying to remove some of that static electricity. And I'm going to do the same thing on the shaker window. Okay, so we have that done. And another thing I'm going to do is, I think before I put it on there, I'm going to go ahead and glue this on the front. I think it'll just be easier that way than trying to glue it on afterwards. And there are different ways to glue it. I can use my liquid glue here to do it, but I am actually going to be using a combination of liquid glue and spray adhesive, and I'm going to go glue that right on. The reason I like to use a spray adhesive as well as my Beacon 3-in-1 is because the Beacon gives me a little wiggle room, but the spray adhesive gives full coverage, and it's a permanent coverage. So I'm going to turn this over on the back. So I put some Beacon in here, but all of these little fine areas, the thinner areas, I didn't want glue showing through the front, like it smears out or something like that. So the spray adhesive is just great for holding everything down. And that is done. And now we are ready to add our little shaker bits in here. And I'm going to be using a combination of things. I've got these micro beads in white. I've got these little clear beads. I'm not sure where I got them from. And a few little sequins. And that is the same thing that I used in this one. And I really like the way that that looks. So I'm just going to, actually, yeah, I am. Sometimes I question myself, so I'm going to pour a few of these in. That looks good. I don't know about you, but I always have trouble judging how much I want in my shaker. There have been times where I've put it in and I just don't think it's enough. There's other times where I put it in and it ends up to be way too much. So, I just kind of eyeball it and, get an idea of what I think it should look like. And sometimes I just keep adding and adding and just keep adding. So that's something you'll have to figure out for yourself, what's going to work for you. And I'll sprinkle some of these in. There we go. Okay. Now that I've got that done, this is the fun part. So I am very carefully going to remove all of these pieces, and then I am very carefully going to place that over the top. And guess what? Since I want to have a really good view of what I'm doing, and right now I'm about ready to smack the camera with my head trying to get over the top of it, I am just going to do this off camera, and I'll be right back. And there it is. All of its little shaker pieces back there. And now I decided I would like to add a few sequins to the outside here. So I am just going to put a couple of drops, put one there, and it goes stringing all over the place. And I think maybe one right there. Okay, so just let me grab my little sequin picker upper thingy and put that one right there, and that one right there. Whoops, that one had two. Hold on one second there. Don't you hate it when that happens? Okay, put that one back on there. Come on, get on there. And here, we'll move this one over here. There we go. So, don't know if the lighting is right there. My lighting is really bad because I am doing this at nighttime with lights on. Usually I try to do this during the day. So hopefully, the pictures will be better because I will take pictures of this and also of the other card. And you're saying, but wait a minute, this isn't a card yet. Nope, it's okay. I have the card base right here. I used to just do it starting right on the card base, but when I was making this card, I screwed up. And luckily I was able to cut the top of the card off and place it on another card. So one tip is do it on a separate piece and then glue it to your card base. So that is what I'm going to do right now, is glue that on there. But anyways, mostly this wasn't about making this particular shaker card. This was to show you that that die cutting technique, that partial die cut technique, so that you don't have to cut all the way through, all the way to the bottom of your cardstock. You can stop it right there like we did on this one. So let's get this all lined up here like so. And I'm actually going to open it and then press from this side to make sure that it is adhered really well, because obviously I can't run it over everything on the front of the card. I would be messing up the little window and the little sequins would go flying off, and hopefully they stayed on while I did this. Oh yay, they did. Okay, and there we go. And I might add a little Merry Christmas off to the side. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but you'll see in the final pictures. And I decided to add the Merry Christmas present, and I'm very happy with how both cards came out, and I hope you like them too. And I hope the partial die cutting technique comes in handy for you. Don't forget there are links below to the products I used today, as well as a 25% off discount code to InLoveArts. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye. If you like this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, I hope you consider that too. And if you do, be sure to click the little bell next to the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos or giveaways. And I hope you stop by Crafters Castle on Facebook and also Crafters Castle Challenge blog to enter your creations.